Howdy y'all, my name's Josh and I've lost 120 pounds in the last year. And now I'm going to take you on the rest of my weight loss journey and hopefully provide some insight, support, and guidance to anyone going through a similar process. I've pretty much been overweight my entire life. I was definitely a big kid, but it got significantly worse when I moved away from home and went off to college, which I'm guessing is a pretty common thing that happens to people. At my heaviest, I was, as far as I know, 560 pounds. And this would have been March of last year. But luckily for me, I got some fresh motivation and my desk job suddenly became pretty physically intense, at least for someone of that size. Between those two things, I lost a ton of weight in 1 year. But last September, I got a new job, which was excellent for my mental health, and I enjoy it much more, better for my career. It's been a good move. But I'm a data scientist, so I am pretty much glued to my desk 8 hours a day. So I've tried to, add stuff to my personal life in my free time to keep the weight loss rolling. There's a few reasons. First, honestly, I think it'd be cool just on a personal level to have a log of this journey. Being overweight has been a large part of my life, and losing this weight is going to be a large part of my life. It already has been. And I've made a lot of progress already, but I obviously have a long way to go, so that's why I'm here. The second point is simple, motivation. I think anyone who has tried to lose a significant amount of weight knows that it's very hard to stay motivated because it's a long process. You can't succeed overnight. And I think having this other thing that I'm doing in my life that sort of depends on me losing the weight will help keep me motivated, right? And third, honestly, I think it'd be really cool to build a community around this. I've tried all kinds of stuff over the last decade and a half or so to lose weight, and it obviously hasn't worked. That's why I'm here. But this time I've been pretty successful, at least so far. So through this journey, I've learned a lot, and I'd like to share that with people. And hopefully that can help someone watching with their journey. I plan on doing primarily two things. The first being progress updates. I'm planning on doing them weekly for now. We'll see what happens. But just, regular stuff that you would expect out of this kind of channel. Weight checks, I'm going to track my exercise, go over anything I accomplished that was special that week, and anything I struggled with that week, and how I overcame it, if I overcame it. And this will serve as a journal of sorts for me, and let anyone else that's interested follow along my progress. I've also got some other content planned around what lifestyle changes I've made thus far, and what I'm looking into. I'm not doing anything too fancy. You gotta have a calorie deficit, and I've been walking. And the walking is somewhat new. That was one of the things I tried adding after I changed jobs. But I'm working on it. Full disclosure, I have been on GLP-1s on and off during my journey. I know that's a hot topic right now. And I have a lot of strong opinions about them. Some good, some bad. So I plan on making a video about those in the near future. But yeah, I want to make videos about, calorie counting, doing cardio when you're severely overweight, like myself. One thing I've struggled with, and I assume other people that are severely overweight struggle with, is injuries to my feet, specifically blisters. And I've more or less overcome that. At least it's a lot better than it used to be. So I want to make a video about that. GLP-1s, like I said before, meal consistency, and adjacently calorie tracking. The meal consistency makes the calorie tracking a lot easier, and I want to go into that. And there's some other stuff too, and we'll get to all that eventually. I guess we'll start off with a status update. So like I said before, as far as I'm aware, my highest weight was 560 pounds-ish, probably a little bit over that actually. Wasn't tracking it very closely at the time. And this was around February, March of 2024. And honestly, this was a pretty bad place for me. I like I said, my desk job got pretty physical, and I was starting to notice how hard it was just for me to keep up with that and just get around. And I say it's physical, but like it wasn't anything crazy. And so I sort of had a come to Jesus type moment at that point. Like, I was 26 at the time, and it's just insane to not, or to have limited mobility at that age. So that was really the kick in the butt that I needed to get going. So it worked out for me in the end, I guess. Now, obviously, I'm still very big, but it's amazing how much better it is already, and it makes me really excited for how I'm gonna feel when I'm done with this. But yeah, like a couple of years ago, I had the situation where I had to walk between two car repair shops that were about a mile away, and it took me almost an hour, and I had to stop a bunch of times. I got blisters, it was raining, it was just a miserable experience. And yesterday, in fact, I walked 2.5 miles to an AutoZone. I have a lot of car problems, if you can't tell, and it was perfectly fine. So yeah, and beyond that, I'm actually signed up to walk, let's not get ahead of ourselves, a 5K next weekend with a bunch of my friends. So I'm looking forward to that. So you can do it, it just takes some effort. And one more thing, aside from the 2.5 mile walk I did out of necessity yesterday, I actually really dropped the ball this week with my cardio. But I think the most important thing that I've learned through this process is that that's fine. I'm an adult, I have a full-time job, I have a life, I do things. There are gonna be times, this entire week pretty much, where I couldn't keep up with what I wanted to do. And the important thing is that that's fine. These are lifestyle changes, not a diet, right? So if they're actually lifestyle changes, I will get back on track next week automatically, and it won't even be a problem, and I'll keep making progress. So I think for tracking my weight, I'm just gonna do a little chart in Google Sheets. I'll throw it up on the screen. And I know calorie tracking apps will make a chart like this for you, and it probably looks better than this, but I'm weird and I swap between these apps all the time because I can't decide which one I like the best. So that doesn't work for me. But yes, as of today, my weight is 437.4 pounds. Of course, anyone that's ever been this large knows that any given day you can fluctuate 3 to 4 pounds. So that's why I'm going to do weekly weigh-ins, so hopefully we see some consistent progress. Well, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to follow along with my journey and get any information from me that maybe will help you on yours. Well, take care, y'all. Peace.